Hey y'all, welcome back to Babeinlibrary. It's your girl Lisa, and today we're going to talk about the best books that I read in 2024. Now, normally I like to do a top 10 and I give them to you in rank order. So usually I go from 10 all the way down to my best book of the year. However, this year I have 15 books that I want to talk about and I don't want to rank them. I just want to give them to you all in a superlative fashion. And what that means is I'm going to tell you my best cover, my best rom-com, my best dark romance, my best storytelling, favorite couple, things like that. So I wanted to start with the best storytelling. As a reader, I love character-driven books, but I also like something that has plot and depth. And there's no book that I could tell you that had a better storyline than Hold You Down by Tracy Brown. Tracy gave everything she had to give in this book. This is something that has been on my TBR, I think, for the last 2 to 3 years. And I'm so glad that I finally picked it up and had a chance to read it. This is hands down, without a doubt, probably one of the best storytelling books I have on my shelf. The way in which Tracy kind of had a through line, it gave you the full picture of a family dynamic with the choices that one or two characters makes and how it trickled down for years to come, how it has a domino effect. This is a story centering two sisters, Mercy and Lennox, and they have been through hell and high water. Tracy does a number on these characters, and if you are a character-driven story reader, you will absolutely bawl and cry because this book gives it to you real, raw, and uncut. And through it all, their sons are witnessing, and it shows the impact that it has for years to come, starting with their mother. This has a unique opening in the fact that Mercy and Lennox are at the gravesite for their mother who has passed away and who actually did a number on them. And it trickles down from them being able to make decisions in their life that impacts their sons, Judah and Dion. And so, like I said, it is a generational storyline. And one that absolutely broke me. I could not tell you the moment in which I realized that this was going to be a favorite for me because everyone talked so highly about it. And I had read Brooklyn first and I loved Brooklyn, but it did not hold a candle to Hold You Down because this story, it weaves through realistic situations and where you get to see each character make a decision and you understand, you can justify whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. There is something that captivates you, said, I can see why this character made that decision. And even if you couldn't, Tracy is going to make you really sit down and analyze, what would I do in that situation? Best storytelling that there is with this one right here. Next, I'm going to go into my favorite cover. And if you all know an artist by the name of Lena Kaufman, you know that her artwork is distinct. I am a people cover person, but there's something about Lena's, artwork and her drawing. And what she did with What a Match, absolute perfection. Like, this covers fall or autumnal vibes perfectly. It covers the characters perfectly. This is Gwen and Anthony. It's a brother's best friend book, which I'm typically not a fan of. But there was something about what Mimi Grace did with this book that just really hit for me. Gwen is actually the older character, and you can see that she is looking at Anthony like, boy, please get out of here. And he is smitten with her. This character is looking at her like she hung the moon and the stars, and she was the reason that the sun got up in the morning. And that's exactly the vibes of this book. Anthony is so in love with Gwen, and he's been in love with her for years, and she never even gave him a glance. And this cover tells that story. It tells how he is doing everything in his possible path to make sure that she is happy. He waits up for her at night because it's a forced proximity. Anthony goes to live with Gwen for a few months while his place is under renovation. And from there, he loves making sure that she is cared for. He cooks for her. He makes sure that she is good, that she gets home from her dates on time. And I absolutely love and adore this book. Fantastic. 5-star recommendation. Fantastic vibes, fantastic cover. Next, I'm going to give you a best murder mystery that I've read, like best psychological thriller. Tiffany D. Jackson. I read her first ever novel, which is Allegedly. Y'all have been hyping this book up. And I was like, I've read a lot of Tiffany D. Jackson. And I started off with Grown. And I was like, there's nothing that's going to top Monday's Not Coming. There's nothing that's going to top Weight of Blood. But Allegedly came in and said, hey, I'm the original girl. I am the it girl that put Tiffany on the map. And for good reason. Like, I read this during Thanksgiving break. And when I tell you, top blown. When it comes to, again, character-driven books, Mary is a character that you're like, damn, Tiffany, could you give her a break? Like, could you, the murder mystery, whether or not Mary did it, whether or not her mother did it, whether or not, who done it? This is a whodunit book that will leave you at the end of the book looking at the last 2 pages. Like, this was me. I was, what you mean? What you mean, my boy? Tiffany, what are we talking about here? This book had me ready to fight all of the adults, all of the children, everybody that was in the vicinity, with the exception of maybe 3 characters. Mary was down bad because she was making decisions that I was like, are you sure about that? Are we sure about that? But really, honestly, everybody else in the life, like, I was sitting here looking like, oh, we're all psycho. Like, you go into this girl's home and you're like, I don't even know if I need to be reading this. Like, this was so good that I understand why it has the hype that it has. Like, fantastic book. Best historical romance. Now, I hear you all. I hear you all loud and clear. And I cannot deny Queen Beverly Jenkins did it with Indigo. Like, you see the type of tabs? This is how much I was having a great time. Like, this stands the test of time. This came out in 1994. Like, at this point, Beverly doesn't have to do a single thing. Like, I don't understand why she's still out here gracing us with her presence. Like, she could stop today. But the lady said, I got more in me. And you all are going to bow down. And here I am, Queen. Love you. Can't wait to see you in May. Again, I just saw you in 2024, but am I going to see you again in 2025? You bet your bottom dollar. Because if you're going to write it, I'm going to read it. Beverly did a number on me when it comes to Hester and Galen, better known as the Black Daniel and Indigo. Fantastic. It hits. Best historical romance that I have ever read, and I stand on that. Now, best rom-com. When I tell you, I laughed out loud to where my dog was like, girl, are you okay? Like, it's not that funny. It can't be that funny, and it absolutely is. That's Ella Gets the D by Tanveer Pert. This book has one of my favorite book boyfriends. Let me tell you, Julian, supreme man. Like, this is also older woman, younger man, another best friend's little brother, but Julian is all man. I had a time. There's a scene in here, and if you know, because I talked to the author and she said that was her favorite scene as well. Like, when it happened, let me give you a little taste. The main character, Ella, is having, grown-up times with the male main character, Julian, and the best friend walks in, and there is something that is thrown at the best friend, and I was like, did that just happen? It absolutely did. And the thing that was thrown is something that you really don't need to have in your face. It goes other places. But it was done, and I loved it. Fantastic book. Loved it. If you want to laugh, if you want a good hearty laugh from like the depths of your soul, read this one. Now, I want to tell you, this is the best fake dating romance trope book that I have ever read. And I don't just mean in 2024. I mean, period. Etta Easton did it with the Kiss Countdown. Like, this is a party planner and a NASA astronaut. First of all, let's give Black excellence. I love that our main male character, Vincent, he comes from money, but it's not necessarily like NFL money. It is, we are doctors, we are lawyers, we are astronauts, we are the upper echelon, and we do things like we go hiking, we fly airplanes, we do it all the things that they said that we couldn't do. We're gonna do it, and we're gonna do it with excellence and grace. And I love how messy the parents are. Like, the family is all up in his business, and he's like, hey, I have to get me a fake girlfriend just to keep y'all off of me, because y'all want to run my life. And if anybody's going to run it, it's me. I'm going to run it into the ground. And I'm going to run it into the ground with this woman here, because she's going to one up me. She's going to say, hey, I'm going to double down. If you said we go together, we live together. If you said we're having fun, we're actually getting engaged. Like, we are going to make sure your parents don't have another question for you, because we are going to sell it. We're going to sell it 20 times over. And I love that there was also a moment where usually we have to have the guy that's groveling, and the woman is like, hey, I screwed up and I'm going to make it right. I love it. I love it. Eat it up. Yum, yum. I'm going to give you all my best couple. I know we're in the middle of the book pack and we're like, hey, we've got more books. Why wouldn't you save it? Because when we talked about messy parents and family members in this one, it don't get no messier than Give Me a Reason by Stephanie Nicole Norris. This is the best couple. Like, because the family ain't necessarily too keen on these two being together. But this couple said, I don't care what my mama have to say about it. I don't care what my daddy have to say about it. I got 6 brothers. I can lose every one of them because you are my life. When we talk about a man, Lance is a man, because, you know, we don't want mama's boys. We don't want somebody to say, if the mama say, yeah, she not the one for you, that you gonna say, oh, okay, well, my mama don't like her. I'm gonna go with what my mama said. No, Lance said, mama, I love you to the day I die. I respect you, but this woman here, she is my everything. I'm going to ride for her no matter what you say. And I love that Allison said, hey, I don't want to come between you and your family. I can't give you some of the things that you want in life. You've supported me and I love you and I want you to be happy. And if that means that we can't be together, I'm going to make that sacrifice because I love you that much. Like, these two are willing to go the extra distance for each other, come hell or high water. This one is touching because I read this and I was like, my heart breaks for these babies because they just want to be at peace with one another and the world around them is not seeing it for them. And they're going to fight for that happily ever after. So much so that when you read it, you're like, I'm damn near in tears. Like, please just allow them to be happy. And happiness they get. They are the best couple because ultimately they are soulmates. And it does not matter what Stephanie Nicole Norris threw it. Now, best male-male romance that has my top favorite trope, hurt comfort. C.P. Harris is The Caretaker. This is the third in the Infidelity series. Yes, I said the Infidelity series. This is the best male-male romance that I have read this year, and it spoke to me on another level. This has the amnesia trope. This has, we've both been hurt. We've both been cheated on, but we're gonna find solace in one another. And I use solace because one of our male main characters' name is Solace, the other one is Noon, and it didn't matter what CP threw at them. Just like Stephanie, these authors will throw, everything in their way to say, do they deserve to be together? And this one, they absolutely do. This one touched me, and it gave me a revenge at the end. I love it when the author says, we have our happily ever after, but I still want my lick back. I still want to make sure that the people that have done you wrong get theirs. Fantastic book. And one of the things that I love about C.P. Harris is her writing is beautiful. It is touching. Like, these two have had some heavy traumatic experiences, but all in all, no matter what happens, they're going to find their way back to one another, and it is beautiful. Stunning writing. Now, on the opposite end, when we talk about, like, that is touching, sweet, it is trauma, but it is wrapped up in, like, a way that is beautiful and poetic. This is on the opposite spectrum. This is, I'm traumatized because this is dark and I like it. Something is wrong with me. This is the best dark romance series that I have read this year. Like, it was made and crafted specifically for me. Like, when the author put pen to paper, it was like, Babeinlibrary, this one's for you. And that is going to be the Devil Wears Baccarat series. I've got Devil Wears Baccarat and Devil Wears Baccarat 2. Baby, stick me in between. Give me both couples. Let me tell you, the first one is Kenya and Alexander. Peak. Let me tell you, the man is obsessed with her. He's like, hey, you're gonna have a bodyguard, and if a man touches you, he gonna feel my wrath. Actually, that also happens in this one too with Constantine and Ari. Don't put your hands on these men, women, because you're either not gonna have a hand, or you're not going to be here to feel the hand. I'm either going to put you 6 feet under, or I'm going to hand that hand back to you in a box. The choice is yours, but what you won't do is touch my woman. And I love that. This gave me the darkest pieces of my soul written down in a sexy, fun way. Jatoria C, you've got a fan in me. Now, my biggest surprise, most underrated book, Damien's Windsor by Ebony Firishu. This was a 12 for 12 recommendation, and I had never heard of this author, never heard of this book, hadn't seen anyone talk about it. And let me tell you, that is a crime. That is a travesty, because this is purity excellence. Like, this is 209 pages of just me being drawn in by the characters and loving that you get to see them go through finding each other, connecting on a soulmate level, experiencing life's challenges and hardships, and loving each other through it. Like, when I tell you, when I first read this book, the first few pages, I was like, oh, this is going to be a steamy, strangers meet up, link up for a night, get a rendezvous, and we go on about our day. I thought this was smut, pure smut. And I went in thinking, okay, it's a jolly good time. And then I was like, wait a minute. What is in this book? It has to be fairy dust, because I am inhaling it. I am loving every minute of this. I don't want to give you all too much. Just know that these two characters support each other. When I tell you that you're a businesswoman and I'm a businessman and we're going to put each other on, I'm going to make sure every room I walk in, I'm going to tell them about you. I'm going to make sure that your products are sold everywhere that my books are sold. I'm going to make sure that if I am in a room, I'm talking about you not only as my woman, but as someone that they need in your life. I'm going to make sure if you have a relationship with your child and you have the mother of your child needs to meet me and I need to, sell her because I want to be a part of you in your child's life, I'm going to do what I need to do. If someone is coming after you, I'm going to make sure I protect you. Like, there is so much that goes on in this book that you can see how these two will weather the storm together. Fantastic. Loved it. Best Second Chance. Now, y'all know this is one of my favorite writers, and she came out with a special edition, and I had to have it because before even the book dropped, I put money on it. Reclaim Me, I just felt like this was going to be the creme de la creme. And it absolutely is. Best second chance romance. When I tell you that Hunter and Ray gave me life, and I just wanted the best for them. Like, I knew that nothing could stand in their way. These two have been through some tough times. Like, they share a connection and a storyline that is unmatched, and they deserve their happily ever after. And I am so grateful to have had an ARC copy of this, to have the special edition, and to get to witness the love that is Ray and Hunter. Hunter has put in the work. He has become the man that Ray needed to be. He has stepped in and took control of not only his life, but his charge. He comes into Ray and he's like, hey, you've held it down for years with this special person in our life. You have been my rock, and let me step in and do what I need to do for you and for this person in our life that needs us both. And when I tell you, I cried, I sobbed like a baby. Like, I loved this book. Best romantic suspense, hands down, goes to Heartbeat by Therese M. Clarke. This is 500 pages, and each page is going to keep me glued to the seat. Like, I read this and I was like, Therese, when is enough? Like, these characters have literally gone off of a cliff, and when is it going to end? Like, they have been through so much. They have been in a shootout. They have weathered an avalanche. The house is blown up. They've gone off of a cliff. Like, how are they still kicking? And how do they keep finding their way to one another? And Mike is that man. Like, when I tell you, if I had to call on somebody in a crisis, it's going to be Mike. Because the man said, hey, it don't matter what you do to me. I'm coming like the Terminator. I'm coming for my woman. And the way that they started off was rocky. Like, because Mike was like, I'm skeptical of you. You're coming in the town. This is a small town romance. And he's like, I'm the sheriff. And I don't see it for you. And by the end of the story, he was protecting Maya with everything within him. And then subsequently, I'm gonna do a twofer, because after you read this, I want you to immediately go into Love Never. This is the quickest novella that will rip your heart into pieces. It will make you sob like a baby. And I read this and I said, Therese, did you want to be my favorite author of 2024? Absolutely you did. You said, I'm going to give you your money's worth. I made you sit through 500 pages. If you can give me 98 pages more, I will make sure that you are satisfied and that you want to keep coming back to this small town. You really want to be one of the people, and I do. Take me to Colorado immediately. I've got 2 more books for you. Then the next is the best contemporary book that I've read this year. Kiss My Scars by Denisha Little. Y'all, this book is a best friends to lover masterpiece. Terrence and Tashina are known as TNT, and the way in which they hold each other down. They are set in Missouri, which is my home state. And reading it and experience it and knowing the vibes of the author, I fell in love. Like, I sat here and I was like, wow, you have written 2 characters that no matter what life throws at them, which is a theme for me. Like, if the author brings them through hell and high water and they come out on the other side, clutching each other's hands and clinging to one another to make it through, you've got my attention. This book is one which has some very, very hard themes, but you know, because they have each other, everything is going to be okay. When I tell you, this is a book that is underrated, that needs to be read. It needs to be discussed. It needs to be put in the hands of the young people because it was written for them. It needs to be, talked about, discussed. And you really have to walk in these shoes with these characters to really understand that young love is real love. Denisha Little did that. And last and not least, what I did honestly consider probably one of my favorite books of the year, and has the best magical realism, the best writing. It is beautiful poetic writing, is going to be Tia Williams' A Love Song for Ricky Wilde. The way in which I sobbed. I loved the historical elements in here. I love being able to see the culture, being immersed in the storyline, being able to be transported back to the 1920s, being able to smell cherry blossom trees, being able to connect with the characters, and being able to just have an immersive read in which I felt that at the end of this, I felt whole and complete, and that I experienced, a movie. I experienced a era. I experienced a time. I experienced love. I experienced a journey. This book here, beautiful cover. I do want to see it translated into a movie. I do want to see people talk about it. I do want to see us revive the culture that was put forth in this book. Fantastic read. One of the best of 2024 that has to offer. I understand why this was a New York Times bestseller. Kudos to Tia Williams for knocking it out the park. These are my top reads of 2024. Let me know what your favorite reads of 2024 is, what superlative you would give it. If you don't want to do that, do me a favor, leave me a purple heart or kiss emoji for Kiss My Scars, and I'll talk to you all in 2025. Bye.